There's a hidden force at play in your very own kitchen, an unseen overlord quietly shaping the foods you love. It's a microscopic marvel, working tirelessly behind the scenes, silently and efficiently transforming simple ingredients like flour and water into the fluffy, airy delight we know as bread, and transforming humble grape juice into the complex and nuanced beverage that is wine. That force, that unseen hand? It's yeast, a single-celled fungus, a tiny organism with an outsized impact. This microscopic marvel possesses a superpower, a unique ability for making ordinary food truly extraordinary. We're not talking about the moldy stuff you find on old bread, the kind you definitely want to avoid. No, we're talking about Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the friendly, reliable workhorse of both baking and brewing, a culinary companion we've relied on for generations. Yeast has been our steadfast culinary partner for thousands of years, a silent collaborator in kitchens across the globe. It patiently waits for the right conditions, warmth, a touch of sugar and a bit of moisture, to spring into action and work its magic. When you provide it with those essential conditions, yeast awakens from its slumber, begins to consume sugars, multiplies rapidly, and in the process, creates the delightful bubbles and complex flavors that we all know and love. Without the presence of yeast, bread would be a dense, flat affair, lacking the airy texture we crave. And wine? Well, wine would simply be unfermented grape juice, missing its characteristic complexity and alcoholic kick. Ultimately, our kitchens would be significantly less interesting, lacking the transformative power of this tiny organism. Just think about your most basic ingredients, simple things like flour, water, and grapes. Consider them as superheroes perhaps, ordinary on the surface but possessing incredible potential in disguise. They're simply waiting for the introduction of yeast to unlock and reveal their true, delicious potential. Yeast acts as the catalyst in this transformation, the magic phone booth, if you will, that facilitates the incredible transformation of simple ingredients into culinary masterpieces. By gaining a deeper understanding of yeast and its capabilities, you unlock a whole new world of flavor, texture, and culinary possibilities. So, let's pull back the curtain, take a closer look, and finally meet the fascinating microbe that's been quietly running your kitchen and shaping your meals all along. Welcome to the secret, microscopic, and utterly delicious life of yeast. What happens when you add yeast, those tiny, single-celled organisms, to the mix? Whether it's to a humble ball of dough, patiently waiting to become bread, or to a vat of sweet grape juice brimming with potential. The answer, in a single word, is fermentation, a process as old as time itself. Yeast's mission, should it choose to accept it, is remarkably simple. Find sugar, that sweet, energy-rich fuel, and feast upon it with gusto. In the world of bread making, yeast eagerly eats the sugars present in the dough, producing carbon dioxide, the gas that gives bread its airy texture, and just a little alcohol as a byproduct. The CO2, unable to escape, gets trapped within the dough's intricate gluten network, inflating it like a balloon and causing the bread to rise to magnificent heights. The alcohol, a shy guest, mostly evaporates during the baking process in the oven, leaving behind subtle, complex flavors that enrich the bread. But in the realm of wine, yeast takes on a different role, voraciously devouring the natural grape sugars and producing alcohol in much larger quantities, transforming ordinary juice into extraordinary wine. The more sugar the yeast consumes in its tireless work, the more alcohol is created as a result, and consequently the drier and more potent the wine ultimately becomes. Bread makers cherish those tiny bubbles, the sign of a perfect rise. Winemakers, on the other hand, are after the intoxicating allure of booze. It's a delicate trade-off, a balancing act. As sugar levels decrease, the production of either alcohol or those desirable bubbles inevitably goes up. All of this is thanks to yeast's insatiable appetite for sugar, and a fascinating bit of biological magic that unfolds at a microscopic level. So the next time you witness the miraculous rise of bread or the bubbling fermentation of wine, take a moment to remember, it's the tireless yeast, working diligently behind the scenes. That's the secret, the driving force, behind this incredible transformation. It's a process that is remarkably simple in its essence, yet utterly revolutionary in its impact on our culinary world. Let's dive into the fascinating world of yeast with a quick and easy experiment that you can even do at home. This demonstration will visually show you how yeast behaves and what it needs to thrive. First, you'll need to grab a clear plastic bottle. Any size will work, but a standard water bottle is perfect. Make sure it's clean and empty. Next, you'll need a balloon. Any color will do. Of course, we need our star ingredient, yeast. Along with that, you'll need some ordinary granulated sugar, and finally, you'll need some warm water. Make sure it's not too hot, just comfortably warm to the touch. Now, pour the warm water into the bottle and add a couple of teaspoons of sugar. The sugar will act as food for the yeast. Next, add a packet of active dry yeast to the bottle. Then, gently swirl the mixture to combine all the ingredients. Now for the fun part. Carefully stretch the opening of the balloon over the mouth of the bottle, creating an airtight seal. Find a warm spot in your house, like a sunny windowsill, and set the bottle there. This warmth will help activate the yeast. Now comes the waiting game. Set a timer for 20-30 minutes and observe what happens. As time passes, you'll start to notice something amazing. The balloon slowly inflates. This is proof that the yeast is indeed alive and active. It's eating the sugar, and as a byproduct, it's releasing carbon dioxide gas, which is inflating the balloon. This very same process is exactly what happens when you make bread dough. The yeast consumes the sugars present in the dough, and as it does, it breathes out carbon dioxide gas. This gas gets trapped within the dough, creating bubbles and causing the dough to rise. No yeast, no bubbles, no rise, no fluffy bread. This simple demo beautifully illustrates that your baking ingredients are not just inert substances but are actually alive and working together in harmony. So remember to give your yeast warmth, plenty of food in the form of sugar, and adequate moisture, and it will reward you handsomely with incredible lift, a beautiful texture, and delicious flavor in your baked goods. So, next time you admire a perfectly risen loaf of bread, take a moment to remember the balloon experiment. Think about all those tiny air pockets created by the invisible carbon dioxide gas that give the bread its light and airy texture. That's the magic of yeast, working its wonders right before your very eyes, transforming simple ingredients into something truly extraordinary. Now let's visit the winery, where yeast's job is to make alcohol. Crushed grapes become must, and yeast, wild or cultivated, dives in to eat the sugars. As yeast feasts, it produces ethanol and CO2, bubbling away until the sugar is gone. Different yeast strains create different flavors and aromas, shaping each wine's unique character. When the sugar's gone, yeast settles as lees, sometimes left in contact for extra flavor. Yeast doesn't just make alcohol. It builds complexity in every bottle. From grape to glass, yeast is the unsung hero of wine. Yeast isn't just for bread and wine. Bakers, brewers, and winemakers' yeasts are all strains of the same species, bred for different talents. Yeast also gives us the umami punch in soy sauce, miso, and even Marmite. Sourdough? That's a wild mix of yeasts and bacteria, creating tang and depth you can't get from a packet. Yeast's talents go beyond the kitchen. It's a superstar in science labs, helping us study genetics and disease. The same microbe that makes pizza dough rise is helping scientists unlock the secrets of life. So, yeast is more than an ingredient. It's a culinary and scientific powerhouse. Every time you taste bread, wine, or umami, you're tasting yeast's handiwork. It's everywhere, doing more than you ever imagined. Respect the fungus. We've uncovered yeast's secrets, from bread to wine to science. It's a living ingredient, the key to flavor, texture, and transformation in your kitchen. Next time you bake or sip, remember the billions of microbes behind the magic. Now it's your turn. Try the balloon experiment, share your results, and tell us what food science mystery you want to explore next. Your curiosity fuels our next adventure. Comment below, share your stories, and let's keep learning together. Subscribe for more delicious science, and remember, go forth and ferment.